I was taught many lessons by my father, and some of them were hard to learn. My dad had 3 rules for me when it came to women. Rule number 1, if she doesn't respect you, don't waste your time with her. Rule number 2, if she doesn't trust you, leave her alone. And rule number 3, if she doesn't love you, move on. As simple as those rules sound, they were not easy to follow. I remember the first girl I ever brought home to meet my dad. I was so excited to introduce her to him. She was beautiful, smart and funny, but then I watched her interact with my dad and it was like a cold shower. She was rude to him, dismissive and disrespectful. I tried to ignore it at first, but it got worse over time. One night, we were having dinner together and she made a joke about my daddy's old pickup truck. "Oh, so this is what you drive," she said, laughing. How embarrassing. My dad's face fell and he didn't say a word. He just got up and left the room. I was furious. I told her that was unacceptable and she didn't care. "Whatever," she said. "If your dad is such a loser, why are you still with him?" That was the last straw. I broke up with her right then and there. I went to my dad and apologized for bringing her home. "It's okay," he said. "I could tell she wasn't right for you." He was right. She wasn't right for me. And looking back, I can see that she wasn't even trying to be. That's why she didn't respect him, because she didn't respect herself. She didn't respect our relationship. She didn't respect anything. And that's why I moved on from her and I never looked back. When I met my wife, I knew she was different. She was kind, respectful and loving, not only to me but also to my family and friends. When I introduced her to my dad, I could see how much he liked her. They talked for hours and he told me she reminded him of my mom. That meant a lot to me because my mom was the best. She was beautiful, smart and funny, but most importantly, she was kind, compassionate and loving. She was the best mom anyone could ask for. I miss her a lot. She passed away a few years ago, but when I look at my wife, I see a lot of my mom in her, and that's one of the reasons why I love her so much. She reminds me of my mom. After I married my wife, I often heard my dad's voice in my head whenever I had problems with her. When I couldn't fix something, I would think, what would dad do? When I didn't know what to say, I would think, what would dad say? And almost every time I did, it helped me solve the problem or find the right words to say. For example, my wife and I had a fight once and she was really upset with me. She was so mad that she didn't speak to me for days. I felt terrible. I knew I had hurt her and I wanted to apologize, but I didn't know what to say. So I thought, what would dad say? And then I remembered one of his favorite sayings: the best way to fix a broken heart is with a new beginning. I didn't know if that was true, but it sounded nice. So I told my wife, "You're right. I messed up and I'm sorry. Can we start over?" She looked at me for a moment and then she smiled. "Okay," she said. "Let's start again." I was so relieved. I hugged her and told her I loved her. "I love you too," she whispered. And that's when I knew I had found the right woman for me. She was not perfect, but she was perfect for me, and that's all that matters. One day while I was working on one of my dad's old pickup trucks, we were talking about women. "Dad," I asked, "why do you think it's important to be with someone who respects you?" He looked at me for a moment and then he said something that surprised me. "Because the woman you marry will either make you a better man or break you." I was taken aback by his words. I had never heard him talk about women like that before. I mean, he was a man's man. He loved cars, trucks, football and beer. He wasn't supposed to know anything about women, but he was wrong. He knew a lot more than I gave him credit for, and his words stuck with me. Some people come into our lives for a reason. They teach us lessons, but then they leave. Other people stay in our lives for a season. They help us through tough times, but eventually they move on. And still, other people are meant to stay in our lives forever. They become our friends, our confidants, our family. We can always count on them no matter what. I believe that my dad was one of those people who were meant to stay in my life forever. He was my teacher, my mentor, my role model. He taught me how to be a man, how to treat women, how to deal with problems, and I'm grateful for that. However, there is one thing he never taught me. He never taught me how to lose him. See, my dad died when I was 25 years old. It was sudden and unexpected. One minute he was joking around in his garage, and the next minute he was lying on the floor, gasping for air. I tried to help him, but there was nothing I could do. The paramedics arrived, but it was too late. He was gone. I was devastated. I cried like a baby. I couldn't believe he was really gone. I kept thinking it was a bad dream, but it wasn't. In the weeks that followed, I struggled to cope with my grief. I felt lost without him. I missed his advice, his stories, his hugs. I even missed his snoring. How weird is that? But then something happened that I never expected. A month after my dad died, I met a woman. Her name was Maria, and she became the woman I ended up marrying. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. I know it looks like I ignored my dad's advice, but I promise you, I didn't. You see, my dad taught me 3 rules for dealing with women. Rule number 1, if she doesn't respect you, don't waste your time with her. Rule number 2, if she doesn't trust you, leave her alone. And rule number 3, if she doesn't love you, move on. I knew those rules by heart. In fact, I still do. And I promise you, I followed them to the letter. So let me explain. When I met Maria, I was still grieving the loss of my dad. I didn't think I was ready to date, but I couldn't stop thinking about her. She was kind, funny and beautiful, but most importantly, she was respectful. She respected me, my family, my friends and my beliefs. She didn't try to change me or push me to do things I wasn't comfortable with. She simply loved me for who I was and supported me through everything. I knew I had found someone special, and that's why I didn't hesitate when she asked me to marry her. I knew she was the one, and I knew my dad would have approved. Here's the thing, my dad may have taught me 3 rules for dealing with women, but he also taught me the most important lesson of all. He taught me how to be a good man. He taught me to be honest, humble and strong. He taught me to work hard, take care of my family and never give up, and that's what I tried to do. That's why I became successful in business. That's why I became a good husband and a great father, because my dad taught me how to be a good man. He didn't teach me how to pick up girls. He didn't teach me how to flirt or how to cheat. He simply taught me how to be a good person, and that's what I tried to do. So no, I didn't learn all my lessons from my dad. In fact, I learned most of them from my mom. But that's okay, because my dad was more than my teacher. He was my hero. He was my best friend. He was my dad, and I loved him more than anything in the world. And that's why I miss him so much. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.